Marcus Fitzsimmons. Today we'll talk some UT basketball and follow up with some Tennessee football. Donnie Moore will announce high school scores from around the area and then mark it down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features South Alabama volleyball player Kaylee Keeble. Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron unveils the Anderson Lumber Company High School Player of the Week, as Maryville High School basketball will be on the docket. Donnie Moore and the panel discuss sports headlines from around the country before the Tennessee Smokies spotlight shines on the SEC bowl games and the college football playoffs. And finally, the panel gives their Shelter Insurance college football bowl predictions for the week. And now it's time for the UT Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, featuring former UT football coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Good morning to all of you. And Donnie Moore, annually, traditionally, whatever, we always have a top 10 list at Christmas time. And
I've been waiting for this.
Unannounced this morning, I do have a top 10 list.
I was hoping you would.
The top 10 list on the Christmas gifts for all Vol football fans. The annual Christmas gifts for all Vol football fans. So let's get started with it. Number 10 gift for football fans here at Christmas time, Tennessee fans looking to get a gift to somebody. Number 10 is an orange dollar bill autographed by Vol receivers Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt with the inscription, "Money talked and we walked." Number 9, a player unavailable receipt signed by Josh Heupel. Number 8, an easy road to the college football playoffs Go Tees t-shirt with the Vols' last 3 games on the back. The number 7 Christmas gift for Vol football fans, an IOU for future Heisman nominations with an Orange Power T inscribed. Number 6, an autographed Joe Milton photograph showing the Vol quarterback throwing a screen pass into the Tennessee River. The number 5 Christmas gift for Vol football fans, a combined ticket package to next year's Austin Peay University of Texas San Antonio and Connecticut football games, along with all the beer you can drink and a guarantee to put you to sleep or money back. Number 4, a framed defensive game plan from the South Carolina contest, personally signed by Tim Banks. The number 3 Christmas gift for all Vol fans, an orange helmet from the South Carolina game, signed by Shane Beamer, Spencer Rattler, and the entire Ohio State Buckeye football team. The number 2 gift for Vol football fans, a Joe Milton drone shaped like a football that flies 20 feet over people's heads on the ground and has unlimited range. The number 1 gift for Vol fans, number 1, a trip on a submergible to see the goalpost torn down and deposited at the bottom of the Tennessee River after the Alabama game.
Man.
What do you think, Coach Trail?
I like
Anything on there that appeals to you? That
no, I believe I passed.
well, I've got the football drone already wrapped up under the tree. I guarantee you, I've got that one already paid, locked in. That'd be a good one to fly right down here,
Yeah.
and hell, it can go all the way to Tuscaloosa. You can fly
Yeah.
that thing all the way down there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about Tennessee football. We've got Tennessee going to the Orange Bowl, and Coach Trail, Cedric Tillman, and Jalen Hyatt, and of course Hendon Hooker are out. Now that's the, if you're looking at Tennessee's football season, that's pretty well the call. We got Hendon Hooker throwing the ball to Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt, and a few handoffs back in the backfield, and that's about what we had offensively.
That's it.
Yeah,
That is it.
and now those two guys have opted out, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding what's going on right now in college football because we've got guys entering the transfer portal, teams all over the nation.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those teams are in bowl games, and we've got these guys opting out to go to the pros. I'll tell you, I can't see where this is a good thing for bowl games or fans. Am I missing something here?
No, you're not missing anything. I tell you what, it's a joke. Really is. Made it a joke that you sign a team up to go to a bowl game, and your star players don't play. I mean, it's almost like having a early scrimmage for next year's team.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Yeah, and it's an easy out because let's just take Tennessee. They go down and they play Clemson.
Yeah.
And Clemson, of course, they've lost their backup quarterback. You know,
Yeah.
he's leaving. He was a starter, but he's not going to play in the football game. But if Tennessee goes down there and they loses the game, well, everybody's going to say, well, we didn't have Cedric Tillman. We didn't have Jalen Hyatt, and Hendon Hooker was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a free pass out, isn't it? I mean, if you lose the game. Pretty much.
It's a no pressure game for Tennessee.
Yeah,
I mean,
when
you go out there without your best players, I would take it as a chance to play a lot of young guys maybe that are going to come back, and at least get something out of it. I would play just my young guys.
Here's where I have a little bit of a problem with guys opting out to go to pro ball. And I know it's all about the money that they're going to be receiving. Sure. It's about the money. There's no doubt about it. And everybody that's sitting out there, a lot of fans, will say, well, they're going to give them millions and millions of dollars, and I can see why they want to do this, but they could have got hurt at any time during the year.
Why, yeah.
I mean, football's a risk game, and they could get hurt on the pro practice field the first time they go out there to practice, and it'd all be over then. But they wouldn't be there, first of all, if it weren't for the university and the coaching staff, and neither one of these guys, I'd bet money on it, neither one of these guys would be as high draft picks as they are, or everybody's assuming they're going to be, if it hadn't been for Hendon Hooker.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that 100%.
I don't think we're even having this discussion right now if it hadn't been for Hendon Hooker.
I guarantee you.
But I guess where I'm coming from is that the university has invested in you, and they're looking to invest in somebody for 4 years to go to school there and to get an education and whatever, and then these guys opt out, and then their remark is, well, I want to thank all the fans and everybody that's helped me and so forth. Well, you've basically just let your teammates down by not going down there. You've let the fan base down, and you've let the program down. But everybody, they wash all that over to the side for money. Pretty much. I mean, everybody justifies it because of money.
That's exactly right, and that's the deal. Is players now. How many times have you heard a player saying, "I want to get my education"?
None.
How many?
Not very many.
You don't hear any.
Yeah.
I've got 4 years here or 3 years. I want to get my degree.
Yeah. Well,
but you never even hear about a degree.
Here's my take. Here's where I'm saying, okay, you two guys, you want to go down there, and Hendon Hooker made you, pretty much, and he's hurt.
Yeah.
He's not going to benefit. We don't know if he's ever going to play football again.
Yep.
Well, let's just, and you're going to make millions. Let's just, what about you and what about Tillman High? Why don't you all get together and give him half your money? Give Hooker half your money. Go ahead and compensate him for what he did for you.
That's right.
If you want to make this move.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Sorry.
I'm not either. I tell you what,
ludicrous.
I think it's it's kind of like somebody feeds you for 3 years and then you just walk out on them and say,
Exactly.
I'm not going to be here.
Right.
I had this article in the headlines, but it's too good. It fits in better
it's
with
controversial.
Right
It's out there right now. It's all over the place at every school in the country. They got players leaving and so forth, and they're going to bowl games, and it's a hot topic.
Well, I'm gonna tell it to you now because it fits in better right now.
Right. Let's go.
Alabama's quarterback Bryce Young and linebacker Will Anderson Jr. both are expected to declare for the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. So you might think they would consider opting out of Bama's non-playoff bowl game on December 31st against Kansas State in New Orleans, Sugar Bowl. But head coach Nick Saban told ESPN's Chris Lowe only yesterday, that the two stars plan to play. In fact, Saban says none of his players plan on opting out of the Sugar Bowl.
I think he puts that in his deal. When you come there and you make money, that you work here.
Yeah, he probably said, you're not going to opt out this game.
That's right.
He probably told him
He
that.
just told him, you're not going to opt out. You might as well forget about it. You're under contract here. And
Wouldn't be surprised at all.
it wouldn't
Well,
either.
well,
But, I mean,
let's just
but
take-
and I think that's, these coaches is, they can make money, they can do this, and hey, what got them there?
Yeah.
I mean, what got you there? I mean, these two guys should go and take their money, just like Mike was talking about, and give half of it to Hooker.
Yeah.
I
were nice
I-
guys.
Yeah, I
Hooker's
mean,
going to
they
make
say,
enough
well,
money
you
for
know,
himself. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's going to be okay. He doesn't need their money. It's also not fair to Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt to say that. You don't know what would have happened had they gotten another quarterback or anything
Oh,
like
I
that.
know exactly what would have happened. They wouldn't have been the players that they've been right
can't
now.
say that.
We saw the other quarterbacks they had over there.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
we don't need any
let's say
explanation
don't
of
have
that.
Hendon Hooker and they go get a graduate transfer this year. There's no guarantee that they're not just as good this year. And that's not me slighting Hendon Hooker or anything like that, but there are good
Yeah.
quarterbacks
Well,
out there. So
the question
that's
is
an asinine thing to say.
The question is opting out.
And what are
Opting out.
What are we opting out for? Why do I have to risk anything on my life for what?
well, we've just
win
made you to what you are.
That's awesome and all, but now I have to. I don't know why sports, and especially in this situation, in these bowl games, are the only situation apparently in all of human reality where it's okay to bash somebody for thinking about what's best for themselves.
Right.
It's the only time this time of year where people say, "I can't believe he opted out of a bowl game. Why is he thinking for himself?" As if people don't do that every day in their regular lives. Point the finger at you. If you're upset at somebody opting out for a bowl game because they think, you know what, I can make $3 million getting drafted in a couple months, then point the finger at yourself whenever you do something that benefits yourself instead of benefiting
Right.
somebody else.
Well, they benefit.
And they're playing-
They benefit themselves right when they're in high school right now, and they
True.
benefit themselves when they sign the because it's all about them. It's all about them from the time they sign over there until the time whatever decisions they make.
Hold on, Mike. Tennessee
I-
Tennessee didn't make tens of millions of dollars this year on TV revenue on the back of Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, and Hendon Hooker.
Well, listen.
Yes or no?
That was all.
Yes or
that was all
no?
created. That
Yes
was all created.
or
That was
no?
all created. They've made millions through the years. They made millions when Coach Trail and I was over there.
Okay.
And that's been going on.
So don't.
That's been going
so the
on for the
university,
same time.
The university doesn't get to pull the "woe is me"
Okay.
card. Oh, we did so
Okay,
much for
here's-
you.
Here's
Get out
the
of here
deal.
with that crud.
Here's the deal. And I understand where you're coming from, Troy. I understand where you're coming from because you're about the money. You're about the money, and that's fine. And the jury will be out about the money because we'll find out what happens to all these guys that take his money in the next 25 or 30 years. And I don't want somebody coming back and saying, well, that university treated me wrong over there. But they left. They made that decision. They didn't get their education. They go on. Now, there will be a few that will make that big money.
Oh, yeah.
But, Coach Terrell, we're talking about less than 1%
Yeah.
of these guys that are
That
doing
make it.
that. This isn't the norm for people making all this big money, and that's what's not being presented out there. These coaches are recruiting these guys
And-
on, hey, we're
yeah.
going to get you in the pros, and that's not happening. Those percentages are so small.
2%.
That's right.
2%.
That's right.
That's
That
all
means
it's
these
been.
programs shouldn't
That
be
will
based
make
on
it.
money. They should be based on loyalty, commitment, and obligation.
That's
just
right.
like the original setup for college athletics was. Not for
right.
the less. It shouldn't be set up for less than 1% of the people out there.
I guarantee you.
That's the way I feel about it.
Well, that's the way it is.
Well, that's
I
the
mean,
way
that's the
yeah.
way it is. Less
Right.
than 2% make it.
Yeah, well, less than that.
You know, and
Less than
you
that.
know, are you chasing a ghost
Right.
here? It's what you're doing,
Right.
and you're going to give up your degree and everything else to do that for 2%.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is dumb.
Right.
I mean, you go to school to get an education. And then you talk about this money deal, and then they get left. You know, there's a lot of those guys that opted out that didn't make it. What happens to them?
Yep.
They got no degree.
That's right. A lot of them that opt out and commit to
didn't
they don't
make
even
it.
make it. They
No,
don't
make it.
And we've had players over here that
they put them on a
happened to.
practice squad for a year or two, and then when it's over, it's over.
Now Josh Dobbs didn't opt out, but look what a great player he was at Tennessee. Now look
Yeah.
what's happened. He's making money.
Yeah.
A lot
But
of
he's
it.
not seen the field.
No.
He's not seen the field
Who
yet.
cares? He's
No.
got the
Well,
best job
who
in the
cares?
world.
Well, I'm
He's
just,
making $2,
I'm
$3
just-
million a year to hold a clipboard.
and there you go again. You're all about the money, and that's fine to feel that way because you represent less than 1% of the players in college football.
It's the way it is.
But
And-
Coach Trail and I are trying to represent the other 99.9%.
That's right.
I mean,
I'm
that's
not
what we're
representing
trying to
anything.
do.
I'm saying if you are good
Yeah,
enough to sit here in a situation where in April your name gets called and you become a millionaire and you change the life of not only yourself but your family's life, your future kids,
Well-
your future grandkids. I'm not sitting here and ever telling a
Money-
kid, hey, don't do that.
Listen, money's not always something that changes somebody's life.
But
Everybody's
it
got.
can
Now wait a
be.
minute.
But
Now,
it
wait a
can be,
minute.
Mike. They go to
No,
the combine, they do all
it's-
this, then it can change their
Right.
life. Cedric Tillman's a potential first-round pick. That's $8 million.
2% make it.
Right.
Less than 2%.
That's great.
Make
but
it.
what I'm saying is these guys are
You
making
got
educated
agent.
decisions.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. You think that you're gonna get $10 million. Most of them have agents that are taking 20, 30%
20%,
of what
yeah.
they make.
Sure.
And then you gotta, first of all, is nothing about money. You know nothing about doing anything with the money. And
I'm
you
not
end
arguing
up
that
just
point.
like Jim Gillum played for Pittsburgh up there, then the Super Bowl 3 or 4 times. They find him dead under the viaduct over in Nashville.
I'm not
I mean, these
I'm not
guys
arguing
have
that
no
point.
way of handling money, and all the kids and the parents and everybody else. You notice whenever they have a signing with, I'm not just saying black players or whatever. There's a room full of aunts and uncles and everybody else, and they're wanting a piece of the pie.
Right.
And the guy you've never had this kind of money. You don't know what to do, how to handle it.
I'm
And-
not
and
arguing
it just
that
goes-
point.
I guess
that
what
goes
I guess
besides
It'll
everything
disappear.
I guess what we're trying to stay here is there's
So he should never
You
get
know-
money in his life?
Huh?
So he should never get money in his
he
life?
He should learn a little bit about how to handle it.
that-
You know what to do with it. What do I just give you this money?
So one more football game is going to change that?
All I'm saying
Right, that's the
is,
conversation.
do you not have an obligation to somebody that's got you to this place? Do you not have any
You've already
obligation
fulfilled
there?
that obligation.
Or
You
loyalty.
have not.
our loyalty.
You fulfilled that obligation.
No, you have not. You've let them
Tennessee's-
down right at the. What if I'm playing for the national championship?
Well, if
and
Tennessee's
then you
playing for
decide to go?
if Tennessee's playing for the national championship, Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman are playing
Why's that?
What?
because
I
the
mean,
game matters.
The game matters.
When?
No,
In what
they're
regard?
they're not walking out because of the game. They're walking out because of the money. So
That's
if
right.
if
It's
they're,
a
game don't
two-sided,
mean crap.
Mike. It's a two-sided thing. I'm not playing in the game because it doesn't matter, and I don't want to risk an injury that affects my money.
well,
If the game mattered,
they
they
just
would
got
play. It's
finished
why they played the
playing
whole
12
season.
games that every game could have risked.
Because because they're playing for something at that point, so they're still competitors. You're talking 2 weeks ago. If they don't lose to South Carolina, they're playing in the playoff right now. They were playing for something. They were practicing for something. They're being competitive. Now we're playing in a game that.
Okay.
Say what you want to say.
Okay.
It don't mean anything. Nothing.
What it is there's just this thing, and I guess me and Coach Trail, I guess in the old school that loyalty and commitment
That's exactly right.
and obligation, means a little bit more than money. Now, whether you agree with that or whether you don't agree with that, it's up to you. And I know this is a different age, but we were brought up that when you sign to do something, whether that be a job or going to school, you feel obligated to fulfill that promise that you signed up for.
I agree.
And that's not where we're at right now.
no.
That's not where we're at.
It's
And
all about me.
it's all about me, and it's all about and we don't agree with that, and there may be some other people that don't agree with that out there, and there's going to be a lot of people that are on Troy's side. Troy says, "Hey,
I have a
take
quick
the
question
money,
to ask.
don't take the chance. Forget about the obligation and what you signed on to do, and that's fine. And you have a right to feel that way, but I just think there's more to the development of the person than just the money.
I have a quick question to ask. If next week Brian Johnson calls all of us and says, "Hey guys, there's no money for the second half of the show. Are any of us showing up January 7th
Let
to do
me
the
tell
show?
you something. I'm gonna tell you something right now. We got NIL deals going on.
That's not
and when
answering
I
my
was
question
in
at all.
1969, now I'm a guy from experience. In 1969, I was recruited by just about every university in this country, from UCLA to North Carolina State to Indiana to Purdue to Ohio State to Notre Dame, you name it, I was
Kentucky.
recruited. And let me tell you something while we're sitting here. I was offered a lot of different things, but my family and I sat down and we discussed all of this because there was under-the-table stuff going on
yeah.
everywhere. Coach Trail was involved in other schools that were doing this sort of thing. And we decided that we weren't going to have anything to do with it. And if anything like that was discussed, it was dropped right now. And we made that very clear up front. And that's the way we felt. Now, a lot of players didn't do that. They took cars, they took money, they took whatever, and they felt like, well, that's fine. You know, I've used I deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't had that growing up. But that's not the way we were
Okay.
brought up.
All of that is fantastic, but if we can continue to
Are
play
you asking me if I would work this show for nothing in the second
Yes.
half of the year?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. I would. I would fulfill my obligation for the rest of the year.
Okay. All I wanted
that's
to do is answer. All I wanted you to do is answer the question.
Okay, I just answered it.
Good.
So, Donnie Moore,
Yes, sir.
you've been real quiet over there.
He couldn't get a word in.
You've been
there.
real quiet. This has been point blank and point counter blank.
Yeah.
So, that's good. That's what discussion's all about.
That's right.
You want to make a
I
point?
like Donnie's outfit
You guys-
there.
Yeah.
You got the gray and the deal. I mean,
I got
tell you
a chance to
what,
wear my vest today.
I'm telling
know.
you, he is. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm representing
He mo-
goatees
he's
today.
moving on up.
Yeah. I like
Well,
it.
let's leave this hot topic because it's
Okay.
it's going to get probably hotter before it's all over with. Guys there's already been probably arguments in bars and everywhere else, but that's the way it's going to be, I guess. But let's talk about Tennessee basketball. We got some time to talk about Tennessee.
Yeah, we
basketball?
got about 5 minutes.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Let's talk
got
about
5
them.
minutes.
They got a big win. Coach Trail against Maryland, number 13th in the country, 56-53. I thought the Vols they improved the record to 9-1, and their ranking in the top 10 there. Maryland, good basketball team, not very good shooters from the outside,
No.
but boy, what a first half for Tennessee, 34-17, great defense. Controlled the boards. Looked like a top. No, maybe the number one team in the country as far as I'm concerned. Didn't shoot it real good in the first half, but it scored 34 points. Second half, not so much.
Not too much. I don't know what it is. It seems like we can never get the two halves together. Can't get them to work out. I don't know what it is. You either have a good first half, a lousy second half,
Yeah.
or you have a lousy first half and a hot second half. I don't understand that. I mean, I just don't.
The second half, to me, they look like they showed some vulnerability, Donnie Moore.
They did.
The first half and the way the season's gone, the second half, Maryland disrupted their offense with a little pressure on
Got a
the
little-
full court
yeah,
pressure.
full court
Took
press.
them out of their game a little bit. The game got a little bit tighter. This basketball team looks a lot like the football team. They jump out of the gate fast at a lot of
Sure.
games, and they make teams try to catch up. And the football team got a lot of mileage out of that. If
Oh,
you noticed,
yeah.
every game, except a couple, they jumped off of the games fast
Yeah.
right out of the gate. But if they had to play from behind or even, it was a little bit tougher for them.
It
And I
was.
saw that a little bit in the second half last night. They jumped on Kansas and some of these other teams
Yep.
start the year and
If Maryland had they got a lot of good open looks from three-point range in the second half, and if they could have knocked those down, that could have
That'd
been a
been a
very different ball
different
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Troy, I thought that, first of all, Ziegler hit a big three,
He
and
did, yeah.
one other player, I'm skipping, hit a three right there in the last couple of minutes. And then I thought Maryland panicked a little bit because
thought
they
so,
made
too.
their comeback going inside.
Yeah.
And then they were, 3 or 2 for 21 from threes, and then they threw up threes
Yeah.
to try to counter those threes. Didn't work.
No, didn't.
Yeah.
Big win for Tennessee. I
was.
just something to me, and I texted you all this after the game. Something to me just strikes me as if Tennessee gives up 65 points in a game, it's going to be tough for them to beat whoever scores 65. That just kind of seems like the number right now. And maybe their offense gets better as the year goes on. Their defense is obviously it's the best defense in the country. Every metric supports that. But it just seems like for whatever reason, the other side of the basketball court doesn't mesh with how good they are defensively. And it just feels like if a team gets hot, as if Arizona is liable to do tomorrow as good offensively as they are, Tennessee's in trouble. Like, they just don't seem to be a team that's going to be able to keep pace with somebody that finds a way to score at a consistent pace.
Yep. We've talked about this before, Coach Trail, but it sort of looks like just another Rick Barnes team playing super defense to start the year, and then as the season goes on, that defense wears a little bit. They start scoring more points. Tennessee starts scoring more points, but the other team starts scoring more points, and you don't see that that intensity that you see at the start of the year, and I guess it's just hard to maintain that, isn't it?
I don't know. I've watched Rick Barnes ever since he's been here, and it just seems like they run down. After about midway the year, then they start going downhill, and I don't really understand that, but it's happened almost every year.
Yeah. Last year was the exception where I felt like they played their best basketball going into the tournament, and then obviously ran into a buzzsaw that was Michigan. And that the Michigan game to me is what stands out as something that is very, very possible to happen to Tennessee this year, where Tennessee could be playing as good as it wants to be playing. It can do all the things it wants to do, and a team just decides it's not going to miss, regardless of how good a defense you play against them. Nothing that Tennessee can do to control it. A team's just not going to miss, and you lose because of it.
Yeah.
Because your offense isn't good enough to
offset it,
make up for it.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing that was a little uncharacteristic in the Maryland game was the free throw shooting. They were 11 for 21, and that's not a typical Rick Barnes.
No.
They missed 2 free throws right there that gave Maryland a chance to.
They haven't been the best free throw shooting team this year, though.
Yeah.
They've been much worse than they have been in years previous under Barnes.
This is a very good Tennessee basketball team.
Oh yeah,
no
doubt about that.
We're not taking anything away. We're not taking anything away from them. They're in the top 10. They got things go together, and if you win games where you don't play very well and you play ugly, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
That's a good
right.
sign.
If they come out and beat Arizona tomorrow, everything changes to me, because that would have been your defense played against probably one of the best 2-3 offenses in the country. Then I think this perception shifts and you think maybe they can keep this up all year. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, they play Arizona. That game, it's actually tonight at 10:30. 10:30, so it's going to be a late start out there. It's on ESPN. And then next Wednesday they play Austin Peay and Thompson Bowling at 6 o'clock. And then on December 28th, there right after Christmas, they start SEC play down at Ole Miss. So, Coach Trail, the SEC schedule is really upon us.
Well, this is why they play all these teams up front, is try to get the rhythm of the team together, which is very important in basketball. The only thing that I don't like all the substituting. I don't like. I'm a get me 5 and a couple of guys that can play in, that come in, but you trick moving people around and moving them. I just don't go for that.
I'd have a hard time playing in the system today
no
myself,
doubt.
because it would be hard to get into a rhythm.
Yeah,
that's
what
that
I'm
would be my
saying.
argument against.
That's what I'm
how
saying.
It is. And I understand now they're playing the tough defense and the grueling defense, and they're wanting more depth to continue that type of play. So
I understand that, but to me, I want my 5 that I can lean on.
Yeah.
The rest, these other guys are, if they come in and out, but I got to have 5 that I can count on.
Yeah.
And
we long for the old days, don't we, Coach Trail? That's our problem, huh?
I guess, but that means that I always said if you don't have one, you don't have none.
Yeah.
And that it's like, who's going to be the man tonight? And I knew when you were over there Edwards was going to shoot. He's going to be outside. He's going to put it in the hole.
Yeah, never saw a
that's
shot I
the way
didn't
it
like,
is.
right?
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
if you don't throw it up there, and you ain't going to make it.
Right.
I mean, you got to put it up there. But I don't mean that everybody's got to do it, but somebody's got to put it in the hole.
Yeah. Hey, it's time to turn the page, and next up is the local scoreboard with Goatee's sports page veteran Donnie Moore and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Goatee sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
This holiday season, we're grateful for another year of helping you, our members, grow financially. Thank you for choosing us and for allowing us to serve you and help you live better lives. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. We look forward to serving you in 2023.
Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. Wow. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty. Donnie Moore, golly, you've been real quiet here this morning. Well, I couldn't get you in on the Family Feud here this morning. Huh?
No, I prefer
you
to
played
remain
it,
neutral.
You played it safe, you know. I guess you're too conservative, I guess, for everybody.
Right.
But
I don't
Well, he wants to be middle of the road.
Yeah,
He's the middle
yeah.
Of, he's
I
the
hope
middle of the
I hope our
road.
7 listeners do realize that we all do love each other.
That's
like,
right,
it
we
is
do.
something we do. Sometimes it doesn't come off that way, but we do.
I just prefer not to drive in the middle of the road.
Yeah, and we don't want our listeners who's on either side of that limb that we were talking about this
Yeah.
morning. I don't want to see any fights around Maryville between
no.
one side and the other side. You know,
Absolutely
we've got
not.
enough of that on the political end of it. We don't need it on the opt-out end of it in college sports. But
No.
okay, Donnie, we didn't.
All
we're
right,
taking
let's
your
get
time
into the
here.
local scoreboard. As always, brought to you by Mandy B. Street Realty. We had a one game on Thursday night of this week. Boy, it was a barn burner too, as always. Of Maryville versus Alcoa. When
Oh.
you say that, when you say those words, you know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Tornadoes versus the Rebs. This time it was at James B. Campbell Gymnasium over at Maryville High School. Girls contest was decided in favor of the Lady Tees. Coach David Ballman's girls pulled off a victory there, 71-57. But the revenge was had by the Rebels in the nightcap, 70-54. So there was a split that went on Thursday night. Rest of
Who
the-
won what? The boys win or the
Yeah,
girls?
Maryville boys won.
Okay.
Yeah, the Rebels.
The ladies lost.
The
Ladies.
Alcoa girls
Alcoa
won.
girls won. Maryville boys won.
I got you, Rick.
Yep. Friday night's contests. Over in Greenback, they hosted Oakdale, and Greenback's girls won that one 57-33. And Oakdale pulled off the victory in the nightcap, 69-61. Maryville Christian School hosted Oliver Springs last night, and Maryville Christian girls were victorious, 64-58. And Oliver Springs won a squeaker, 42-41. Yeah, a one-pointer. It's Heart Attack City for coaches. Over at Seymour last night, I can't get Marcus's take on this one. It's 58-21 in favor of Seymour's Lady Eagles, but Carter pulled off a major victory over at Seymour last night. 83 points scored by Carter in favor of Carter, and only 59 for Seymour. So 83-59 in favor of Carter over there at Seymour last night. The Kings Academy traveled to Berean Christian School last night and only had a boys score on that one. 71-30 in favor of the Kings Academy. So they're rolling. They're playing pretty good basketball right now. That'll do it for our local scoreboard. We had some signings this week.
We did.
Hunter Ogle over at William Blount, kind of shrouded in that one in mystery, didn't he, Troy?
He did.
He kind of didn't want anybody to know until the last moment what he was going to do. But he ended up signing with Mars Hill University over in Mars Hill, North Carolina. Signed for his football future right there. Signed with the Mountain Lions of Mars Hill University. So congratulations to Hunter Ogle of William Blount. Had 3 signings at Maryville yesterday. Cal Grubbs of Maryville signed with Liberty University. He's going to be a Flame. So he'll burn brightly over at Liberty University. For football, Noah Vaughn also signed with to continue his.
Didn't the coach at Liberty go to
Auburn.
Auburn?
Yeah,
He stayed committed.
yeah, he did. He did. So
Who's going to be the coach at Liberty?
Jamie Chadwell, Coastal Carolina
Jamie
coach.
Chadwell. He moved from Coastal up to Liberty. Noah Vaughn also signed from football. Signed with UVA, Virginia, and stayed hurt. Well, he broke a leg, didn't he, Troy?
But his ankle.
Yeah, broken
But
ankle.
he was walking yesterday.
Good. Glad to
So,
hear it. Glad to hear it. He's on the road to rehab.
Yeah.
And Caleb Graham, also from Maryville High School, is going to West Point.
That's a good
signed football
thing there.
time for football. Yeah, no doubt.
Really proud of those 3 guys.
Yeah,
Watched them since they were sophomores, and it's going to be hard to watch them go and not be a part of Maryville next year, but I wish them the best. I have no doubt that they'll kill it at the college level.
Yeah, Caleb will join fellow Blount Countyan and Tornado Major Harris.
Major Newman.
Major
But
Newman.
Major
I'm
Newman's
sorry, Major
transferring.
Newman. Is he?
Major Newman's in the transfer portal.
He's
yeah.
in the portal.
Yeah.
Well, he'll do well wherever he
Wherever
goes.
he goes,
'Cause he's a
super talented player.
He is a talented player, and he's a disciplined athlete. So I did not know that. All right, that'll do it for the Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard. We'll kick it to our friend Troy Provo Heron, and he'll take
Well,
over for Marcus at this time.
Marcus is what? Opted out? Or
Marcus
Marcus
opted out.
Marcus opted out of the show, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
He
show-
was on his way in here, and he heard you, and he just turned his car around and went home.
'Cause it
right,
wasn't-
Coach Trail?
He got paid. He got paid.
He did. He got his
Oh,
check.
well, he got his check. Yeah.
We'll remind everyone that you're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio.
He got paid.
Troy, it's all
we,
yours.
we
He
were on
got
the
his check and he checked out. That's all he did.
we were on the
Ah,
topic
man.
of college athletes who are going to be really good in college. We have a Heritage alum here who has been exceptional in college. We're joined by
Indeed.
Heritage alum and South Alabama volleyball player Kaylee Keeble. And Kaylee, I wanted to first off congratulate you on a great season.
Thank you.
Second team, all Sun Belt. Just take me through your year and kind of what it was like for y'all. I think lost in the Sun Belt Championship game, so missed the NCAA tournament by one game. But just what can y'all say about your year and then the year y'all had?
Yeah, so the year before we actually ended up winning the Sun Belt,
Okay.
going to the NCAA tournament. We returned everybody except for one of our middles. We also had one of our outsides. Had some shoulder issues. She got surgery, so we're really coming back with like two of our key pieces, but they also added 4 new teams into the Sun Belt this year.
Right.
James Madison, Southern Miss, Marshall, one more, Old Dominion.
Old Dominion.
Right, and so we knew our conference was definitely going to be tougher. But I honestly think we had a pretty good year. Without those injuries, we had some good freshmen come in, some good transfers. They really pushed us in the gym. I think we were just Sun Belt Championship, heartbreaker. We played really well.
Yeah.
It was just, definitely not the outcome we wanted, but we were excited that it's because that's definitely better than the program has done before. So we've had 2 really good seasons back to back. I mean, we were expecting to win the championship, but I don't think we were really too bummed because we still did good, So.
I do want you to take me back to that championship game. You're down 2-1 in the sets. You win the 4th set. I think you lose 16-14 in set 5.
Yeah.
Just what are the emotions of all that when kind of the season comes to an end there?
Yeah, definitely. We were up actually like 14-12 at one point. Ended up losing 16-14. Like I said, definitely a heartbreaker. It's really sad for the seniors. We had a really, really good senior class this year. Like all-star, libero of the year, middle, who has battled through like crazy injuries, like 2 heart surgeries and stuff. Like it really hurt worse for them, honestly, knowing that we ended it like that for them. But I think they were just excited that we did turn the program around while they were there, and they were part of that class, that ended off helping. So, yeah, definitely crazy, really sad. Might have shed a couple tears, but
For sure.
yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about your season in general. 21 double-doubles, second most in South Alabama history. Just what does that mean to you to join a program and kind of find yourself at the top of lists and records and all that stuff?
I'm not going to lie. I probably didn't know that until
Yeah.
you just told me right now. I'm not really a stat girl.
Yeah.
I like winning. So stats are, kind of low on my list. My dad probably knew that, but
I have no doubt that Jason knew
I'm
that.
Yeah.
sure he did.
I guess hearing that, it's really exciting to be able to turn a program around like that, like be a part of the change to a better culture. I couldn't have done it without my teammates, like my passers. Like I said, I had libero of the year. They were passing me dimes all year. I don't know if you've kept up, but we have crazy good hitters. Hannah Maddox, potential player of the year, got robbed, I think. Our middles, it was really a team effort, and I couldn't have done it without them. But yeah, all credit goes back to my teammates, really, for a great year for me. They make it easy.
Kelly, you've talked a lot about y'all changing the culture at South Alabama. Obviously, out of Heritage, you signed with Tennessee, transferred after that. What was it about South Alabama that kind of stood out to you when you were looking for a new school and all that stuff?
Yeah, so when I decided to transfer at Tennessee, I had actually told my parents I was done playing volleyball.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm not having a good time.
Right.
Like, I don't even love it anymore. And one of our teammates from Tennessee had transferred down to South, and she was just telling me about, oh, we have this new coach. Like, you just talk to him. Just talk to him. I was like, oh, whatever. Okay, I'll give him a call. So I called him, and it was like within the first 5 minutes of the phone call, I was like, okay, that's someone I want to play for. Like, the coach, Jesse Ortiz, he is like, I've never had a coach like him before. Like, growing up throughout K2, like, it's pretty tough. Like, you know, you get tough coaching, and I don't mind tough coaching, but he's like a teacher of the game, really, is what he calls himself. He doesn't call himself a coach. He calls himself a teacher. I feel like I've learned so much more there than I have in college. But he just, like, really is, like, very technical, very, like, in the game. We do so much scouting and film. Like, it's kind of like a football or baseball game, really. Like, our games are a lot different than other games because he'll look at the side and he's giving us all of these, like, defensive calls and offensive calls at the same time. It's just, like, it's so different for me, and I really liked, like, the learning aspect of it, and I want to be a coach one day. So just going to play for someone who I know is just probably one of the smartest people I've ever met, honestly, and in the game of volleyball. And, yeah, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be playing. But, him, that's it. Him
Okay.
and the assistants, they're pretty cool, too.
You mentioned maybe losing that love for the game. How difficult was that for you, considering that, you know, your dad's a volleyball coach, you played for him under Heritage, you played for K2. The sport's basically been your entire life, and just how difficult was it for you to maybe come to the realization that at that point in your life, maybe you didn't want to play it anymore?
It was so difficult because, like I said, I wanted to be a coach, so I was going to school for, like, you know, sports management, and at that point I was, like, second-guessing everything. I was like, oh, my gosh, if I'm burnt out now, like, do I want to coach in the future? I'm not sure. And then I was like, well, what else am I going to do because I don't really know anything else? And so, I mean, having my family support really helped me with all of that. My mom and dad and even my grandparents, they were just there to listen and talk to me whenever I was struggling. So it was definitely really tough, probably one of the darkest parts of my life, which is kind of crazy to say considering it's a sport. But just having my mom and dad there to just talk me through it was really, really helpful. So
Just when you going into the season, obviously y'all were, like you said, Sunbelt champions the year before. Just kind of what was the expectation heading into the year, and how did y'all kind of feel like you lived up to that as the season progressed? As you mentioned, injuries and all that stuff kind of hampered it a bit, but
right. We had a pretty hard preseason schedule this year, and obviously going into a season, your goal is to win your conference. And Jesse always told us, like, hey, that's not our goal. We're just going to take it one game at a time. But you know, it's always in the back of everyone's mind, like, we're going to win we want to win our conference. But I think after our rough preseason that we had, we were all like, ooh, let's just go in here and do the best we can, you know? And we did. Like I said, just a couple of tough losses. I think if we just could have maybe, like, won a couple more games of preseason, we would have put ourselves, you know, in a better position, ready for the upcoming season. But like I said, I mean, especially the girls that have been at South and me at Tennessee, even, like, when I was there, we were middle of the pack SEC. I think we were just kind of not happy that we lost, but just not super upset about it because we did have a winning season. Like, we were good. We were just a little upset that it wasn't exactly what we were expecting.
So many times when you are the reigning conference champion, people like to say that you have that target on your back and all
Right.
stuff. Did you feel that at all when you felt like you got your best matches against opponents who
100%. 100%. People always say that, and you think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, I swear we got everybody's best games. Like, even, like, the people that are in the bottom of our conference, they'd come out and just be ready to just kick our butt. So, yeah, definitely a learning curve because last year we were, like, predicted last in our conference, and we were just the ones sneaking up on people, but there was no secret this year. Everyone knew we were coming.
there's some pressure to that too, right? Like obviously y'all inside
Definitely.
your locker room want to repeat.
Definitely some expectations that we didn't have before going in. Again, super new to us because we're not used to that. And Jesse did his best to remind us, he's like, hey, guys, you still have nothing to lose. Like, this is your second year together. Like, just go out there and have fun. So that's another thing with our team. We just have so much fun when we're playing. Like, everyone's smiling, and we're winning, so it's crazy.
You mentioned winning the Sun Belt last year. That means you get to play in the NCAA tournament. Just what was that experience like 2 years ago, and just what did it mean to kind of be on that stage?
It was awesome. We played Miami at Florida. Ended up losing in 4. Definitely a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
If you looked at the score, it was really close. It was a really cool experience, and I think that's what we're fighting every day to get back to, because like that's something our program hadn't done before, and we all have all the pieces to keep doing it, and that's definitely our goal for this upcoming season. As soon as we get in the spring in the gym this year, we're just going to be grinding it out. We talk about it all the time, so yeah.
Okay, I can't imagine how fulfilling of a feeling that is to transfer. Y'all go in your first year there, you go 25-7.
Yeah.
You go to the NCAA tournament, like you said, for the first time in either a long time or the first time ever. Just for you, how good did that feel? And do you feel like that first year kind of got you that love back for the game that you had been missing maybe the year prior?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, definitely winning helps, but also just being in like such a supportive environment where like you're free to like make your own decisions, and like you're not just in like this little box. Like I just remember like just being so down on myself all the time after every practice, like in the program I was at before. And like here it's like it's okay to make mistakes. I'm free to just play how I can. Like I feel like at the setter position it's really important to be athletic, like be able to do things that make you feel comfortable, and when you're getting put in a box where you feel like you can't do that, it puts a strain on your game, really. So just being able to feel comfortable and confident, like playing the sport that I've been playing since I was 7 years old, is really important, and that's been big key to why I think I've had success at South Alabama.
When you were in high school, I remember us talking about how much you loved softball, I think it was,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. When you were worried about volleyball, did you ever give any consideration to going and playing softball somewhere?
I did not, actually. I did not. I do not think I could compete at the Division I level in softball now. Maybe if I, practice a couple pitches, maybe. But
Kaylee, we don't have many college athletes here, so I have to ask, what was COVID like for a college athlete and all that stuff? I know for me as a sports writer, it was really difficult, but I can't imagine it was any easier for you guys as athletes.
yeah, no, it was really tough. Getting sent home in my first freshman year of spring, I feel like spring is like really like your off season for volleyball. It's spring, is what really gets you better for college, and I got that taken away. And whenever we came back, we ended up splitting our season into the fall and the spring, which is like, I don't know if you've heard much about college preseasons, but 2 weeks of lots of hard practices. They're tough, and we did it. Then when we got back, we did it once, and then they thought they were going to cancel our season, so they gave us a little break. Then we did it again, and then we played our little first season in the fall, straight back into season in the spring, so we had another preseason. More games in the spring, and then you're right back in it in the summer. So I'm not really used to like not having like any break. It was just boom, 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 boom. So it's really, really tough. Something, I mean, we all did it, but yeah, definitely a weird experience.
Well, you got one more year of eligibility left. I kind of want to transition to looking forward and kind of what are y'all's goals going into next year at South Alabama?
Definitely win our conference again. Also make it to the NCAA tournament. South Alabama, or the Sun Belt Conference, has never had like 2 volleyball teams get into the tournament. It's always just the winner of the Sun Belt. But with our new competition, like James Madison, Texas State, us, we're all starting to have like really high RPIs. So that could potentially get us 2 teams in the tournament. So hopefully, our goals are to, I guess, take each game one by one, win as many games as we can at the end, make a run in the tournament, and win it, go to the NCAAs, win the first round.
There you go. Well, Kaylee, we appreciate you coming in this morning and talking to us. We wish you all the best of luck next year, and we'll be certainly rooting you on for that NCAA tournament run next year.
Perfect.
Of course. Back to you, Mike.
Hey, we'll take a timeout here. When we return, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Herron will be back to announce the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. Wow! For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Blue Tick Tavern, downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment, featuring Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron. Troy, we're going to go from volleyball to some high school basketball, so it's all yours, guy.
We are, and we're joined by Maryville boys basketball players Matthew Clemmer and our Player of the Week, Robbie Eldridge. And guys, coming off of let me pull up the score here because I don't remember, a 70-54 victory over Alcoa on Thursday. Obviously a big rivalry game, and Matthew, you're new to it. Robbie, you're certainly not. You grew up in it. Just what was it like for you to kind of handle them as well as y'all did?
The energy out there was great. It was probably the best crowd we've had at a home game in a while, and it being Alcoa, the energy was out there was it was great, and I'm sure he enjoyed it being out there for the first time, and it was just great out there to go out and respond to all that energy in the crowd.
Matthew, atmosphere-wise, football, basketball, which one's better in the rivalry? I know the answer, but
the football game is a little different.
Yes, it is. It is a little different.
There's people lined up all across the field, but like Robbie was saying, the energy was high in that game. There's a great crowd. A bunch of people came out to watch, and I'm glad it was our best team performance. You know, when everybody came to watch us to show them how good we can really be. And
I was talking to Coach Lambert after the game, and he said it just felt like things finally clicked for y'all? Obviously, y'all have been a real inside-out team this year, and for whatever reason, maybe the outside part of it has been a little slow to get going. But inside worked, outside worked. Nick Johnson hit 5 threes, scored 21 points. Robbie, you hit 3 and went on a 10-0 run there in the third quarter all by yourself. How good did it feel to finally get the offense that I think y'all knew you were capable of and kind of put it together in a game that means so much to y'all?
It was great. Early in the season, we've struggled a little bit, but like you said, that our coach said, it finally all kind of clicked that game, and we played really well on both ends, especially offensive. We really stuck to our system, worked on reversing it, slipping, doing all the stuff that we've been preaching in practice, and we finally got it in the game.
Now, I think we have to give some of this credit to Matthew because he's only played, 2 games since this week, 3. And so it kind of feels like y'all have finally figured it out as he's joined the team. And, Matthew, just kind of what has it been like to, one, I want to say, because Coach Lambert mentioned this to me the other day, and I hadn't really thought about that. You've never played football for that long. You've never played for 14 weeks. So how did your body hold up to that, and how has it been like transitioning back to basketball now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever had to miss a basketball game because of football. And, those first few practices, I'm sucking wind a little bit more than usual in those first few games, So it's just getting back in shape, getting my basketball legs back. Football shape and basketball shape are 2 different things, and it's slowly coming along. And I've never played with these guys, and it's just learning to play with each other, knowing what each other are going to do, when we're going to cut, different things. And, against Alcoa, it really just started to click, and we're trending in the right direction. So
I think you had 17 points against Sequoia on Tuesday. Is there a point in the last couple weeks or so where it's kind of felt like you're back, and you feel like you're back to basketball shape and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting there. My shot's starting to fall a little bit better in practice. My legs feeling better. I'm not 100% back, I wouldn't say, but I'm definitely getting there.
Robbie, I want to talk about that third quarter because it felt like maybe you were a little cold in that first half and Nick really got it going. I'm just wondering, how much did you feed off of him and kind of all of his shots going in, and how much do you feel like that attributed to how well you played in that third quarter?
Well, in that first half, he barely hit. I don't even think he hit
He didn't
rim.
hit rim once, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think he hit rim either. But, coming in after the first half, scoring 2 points, not really satisfied with my offense shot. It didn't really get any good looks. But Coach pulled me aside, and he was like, hey, stick to our offense. It's going to come to you. They went 2-3 one time, got a shot off that, and then just kind of rolled from there.
Matthew, just obviously when we talk about inside out, you're a part of that inside aspect with Alex and Lucas, and just kind of how good do you think this front court can be? Because it kind of feels like with the 3 of y'all, it's going to be really tough for teams in this area to kind of contend with y'all's size down there.
Yeah, I mean, we know we have a lot of size, and especially in that game, we had the size advantage, and they decided to start, their small lineup, and so we knew we were going to have to pound it down low, and even when we get Eli Elkins back, we'll be even bigger, and, we got a lot of size, and so people are going to have to start doubling down there, and then when you got shooters like Robbie and Nick outside and you can kick it to them, it's really hard to defend.
Robbie, Wes told me that he felt like, even though y'all lost to Baylor, he felt like the season changed that day. He kind of saw something in y'all that he felt like was going to carry over to this week, and obviously it did. Just take me back to that game and kind of what you felt after that one.
Baylor, probably one of the best private schools in our state, probably will go on to compete for a state championship in their league. They're super big, all really strong and long. They've got one kid that has a couple Division I offers, and just going out there and if we didn't have the first half that's a different game. Even though we lost, we played really hard, and that was really the first game that we've brought over the stuff from practice and into the game, and so that was just really satisfying to finally see it all kind of happen in a game, especially against a really good team like Baylor.
Matthew, is that your first game?
No, that was my first game was against Webb.
Okay.
Yeah,
so your second
too tough.
So your second game is against dudes who are 6'9" and 6'10". What's that like?
I think I was guarding the #1 football player in the state or whatever.
Yeah.
And that guy he was huge, and so and their gym was 1,000,000 degrees for whatever reason.
And it was so small, and
students are on top of you.
The bench is backed up against the wall, and right over you guys is the student section, and everybody is loud in there. It smelled awful too.
Robbie, how much different has this season been for you? Obviously, your first 3 years, you play for your dad and all that stuff, and now Coach Lambert takes over. Just how much different has it been from you maybe not looking over the sidelines and Coach Eldridge not being there anymore?
Like, obviously I miss my dad, but it's kind of nice to, like, have a little more freedom. And I know that he enjoys it because he's not so much worried about, like, what other people think and me just playing because he's my dad. But it's really satisfying because I know it means a lot to Coach Lambert, too, because he obviously played for my dad his first year when he won it. So I think he understands, like, how much it means to me because it's his first year and he took over after my dad. But it's really satisfying to have someone that cares so much about something that my dad left. So it's just really, it means a lot to me that he's taken it as serious as he has.
I've talked to your dad a lot this year just from sitting with him in the stands and stuff. I know he's really enjoying just sitting and watching this year. Matthew, obviously you enter in the middle of the season, so you weren't able to kind of do all the preseason stuff and all that. But what were these guys telling you as kind of you were going through your postseason run in football? Just kind of what were they telling you about the basketball aspect of it and anything? Were they having conversations with you throughout it or anything like that?
I was on the bench for the games, and so we got to talk a lot in our group text. We were texting and things I can add when I come back, and just so so we did talk about it a lot.
Get in the gym at all during football practice? After football practice, anything like that?
I did a little bit. I got some shots up here and there. Me and Lambert wanted me to get some shots up, so I did. Yeah.
Robbie, we talked about this a little bit when Nick and Lane came in before the season, but just entering the year, it kind of feels like this district is more open than it's been. It doesn't feel like Bearden's the dominant force they've been, or Farragut's not the dominant force. How exciting is that for y'all as a group, and kind of what is the expectation level in terms of what y'all think you can do in this district, which I guess district play starts in just a couple weeks now?
Yeah, so past couple of years it's always kind of been like Bearden and Farragut. We haven't really been like dominant ever since my freshman year when it was Joe and Ashton and just an absolute dominating team. But Bearden lost like I think 6 guys and Farragut lost like 6 guys as well. So there hasn't been like there's been a bunch of teams that have been beaten by like teams that are not as good, and a lot of teams that like everyone in our district is very beatable, and not many people in our district have people that are 6'5" and 6'9" and 6'6". So, I mean, our expectations are go out there, compete with anybody, beat everybody, and then we make it and just see how far we can go. And I like our chances because, like he said earlier, once we have like all that size and inside and they're dominating down there as much as they are, and then they start kicking out, that's just super hard to defend for anybody really.
Matthew, you were working out with the team in the summer. Obviously, Coach Lambert preaches that inside out. Your bigs are so important to what we do offensively. Just how exciting is that for you as a guy who's down there and kind of knows that offense is going to be running through y'all a lot of the time?
I like that style of basketball. I feel like too many teams nowadays live and die by the 3 ball, and that just doesn't do very well in tournament play when it's big crowds and it's hard to hit your shots. And so I feel like that style of basketball is what's best and the best style to win our district, and how competitive it is. You have to play inside out, and you can't live and die by the 3. So,
Robbie, it's also been a complete change in defensive philosophy and defensive intensity this year. Just kind of how have y'all gone about maybe changing the way y'all play on that end of the court, and how much do you think it has helped y'all in terms of winning games?
So when my dad was here, it was more just like play solid defense but have a really good offense. But Coach Lambert has really preached this year, like we play good on both ends of the court, give our all on every possession, whether offensive or defensive. And like in practice, we really work on walling up and not fouling and not reaching down and sliding. So it's been a process since the beginning, so it's not nothing surprising that we've been better on the defensive end because we've been working on it so much in the preseason and during practice this year.
Something Coach Lambert told me Thursday that he liked so much from you was the fact that in that first half when shots weren't falling for you, you still made an impact on the defensive end. I feel like at the high school level it's maybe harder for kids to realize that. I know it's something like Rick Barnes talks about all the time in Tennessee, like if shots aren't falling, you have to impact the game in another way. Just how much has he preached that to y'all in terms of now that the defensive side is as important as the offensive side?
Yeah, him and his dad, we call him Rambo. They've always preached if you're not doing what you normally do, how can you impact the game? How can you rebound? How can you find other people that are making their shots? So it's just what we've been putting in. It's what he's been preaching that we've been putting in the game. So whatever you can bring to the table, bring it.
Matthew, what is it like having Randy Lambert on the bench? Obviously, there's probably not too many people on this side of the state, maybe in the entire state, who know as much about basketball as that dude does. So how much do you think he has helped y'all in terms of just kind of the knowledge he's able to pass on to y'all?
Oh, I mean, it's helped us extremely. He's just, he like Robbie was saying, he's a big defensive guy, preaches that defense. And, he's helped me individually a lot, just with the little details, about boxing out and on the defensive end. And I think it was Sequoia. I come out of the game and he was like, Matt, yeah, you were playing slow right there. And I was like, when? And he said, and everything. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, me and him joked about that, and he told me I was getting a little bit faster in the next game. And so he's a good guy. He'll joke with you, but he's also serious at the end of the day. So he's a lot of fun to have around the team.
Robbie, Coach talks a lot about, I know that these Christmas tournaments don't win you district championships and region champions or anything like that, but Coach talks a lot about how they do prepare you for that because you have to play 3 games in 3 days and all that stuff. So how much are you looking forward to this Christmas tournament in a couple weeks and all that stuff?
We're looking forward to it a lot. We've got 2 teams in there that have beat us early in the season that I think that we should have beat if we had played the way that we're playing now. And it's also really exciting because we have a really good chance to go out there and win it. And I don't think we've won our own Christmas tournament in 3 years. I think my freshman year was the last time we won it. So, it's really good to get out there and prepare. And those games are like the type of games that you need to win because most of the time we're playing it. I think most of our 2 of our games are at 10 a.m. So there's not going to be anybody there. So we got to really work on like games like that. You really got to come out there, work on like feeding off each other, bringing your own energy, and going out there and just killing teams from the start and walking out with the win.
Matthew, I have to ask because we're getting close. You given any thought to what it'll be like to play William Blount?
Oh, I'm sure that'll be a strong mental test for me. See how mentally strong I am. I'm sure they're gonna come at me a little bit. So that'll be a fun one. Yeah.
Robbie, we're getting to the point now where district play is creeping up upon us, and I just want to ask, like, obviously Coach Lambert has put this schedule together to really test y'all and make sure that y'all are your best for district time. Do y'all feel like at this point you've improved throughout the season, and how good do y'all feel heading into district play?
We scheduled Webb, who we haven't normally scheduled. We've scheduled Baylor. We scheduled a bunch of teams that we normally don't play, especially this early. So there's all a reason behind it, and I know that Coach Lambert believes in us, and he wants us to get to that level that like those teams are considered at. So heading into district, we've been trending in the right direction. The last couple games, we've probably been the best. Well, we've definitely been the best that we've played, but we're just trending in that right direction. So heading into district, we're feeling good, and we just want to get Walker Valley this Tuesday, and then come to the Christmas tournament, win those, and then head into district and get ready to compete in that level.
We want to wish y'all the best of luck in your Christmas tournament, district play, and we hope that we can have y'all on at some point later on in the season. No doubt that we will, actually. But back to you, Mike.
Okie doke, Troy. Thanks a lot. Time for a break. And when we return, it's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
This holiday season, we're grateful for another year of helping you, our members, grow financially. Thank you for choosing us and for allowing us to serve you and help you live better lives. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. We look forward to serving you in 2023.
Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, and it's time for the sports headlines with Donnie Moore. And I guess, Donnie, we get busy and we get off tangent and so forth and so on, but we do want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season.
Definitely.
And we need to inform our listeners that we're going to take a little break to be with our families over the holidays, and we won't be back on after today until January the 7th. But,
right.
We'll look forward to see them at the first of the year. But we do want to wish everybody a great holiday season.
That's correct, Mike. We're going to be on a 2-week hiatus, so but we'll see you again soon. As soon as the new year rolls around. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all our listeners out there and our viewers on the social media.
Hopefully I can get Ray's money by then.
That's true. Yeah. Ray, don't count on it, though.
I'm not.
All right, let's look at the sports headlines. For the first time in history, the NCAA has chosen a politician to be its new chief. The current head of the NCAA, Mark Emmert, is stepping down, and Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker will succeed Emmert as the new president in March. Baker said his time in state government, building consensus among various constituencies, coalitions, and factions, should help in leading a diverse association with a wide range of priorities. Governor Baker was approached by the NCAA's search firm about 2 months ago. So, new man at the top.
What's he going to do?
He's going
He's just going to be the new
He's going to
president.
be the president of the NCAA.
Yeah, but they don't do nothing.
Well,
They steal money.
That should be good
They
for
steal money.
That should be good for a politician, then,
Yeah, a
shouldn't it?
politician get paid for nothing.
Doesn't do anything.
That's right.
We'll see. We'll see how he reacts to that.
He's got it made. He
Yeah.
gonna get paid and do nothing.
Well, he's got a few issues he needs to look at, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
What?
Like what?
I don't know. It's,
Like players opting out of bowl games.
Oh, boy. Let's go on to the next topic. The World Cup final is set at last, with France and Argentina to square off tomorrow at Lusail Stadium in Qatar for the highest prize in soccer. France seeks to become the first back-to-back champion since the Brazilians did it in 1958 and 1962. Lionel Messi of Argentina is one of the world's greats, and has won almost every award and trophy except for the World Cup. This is Messi's 5th and likely final World Cup appearance.
Indeed.
Can he do it, Troy?
Certainly can. I mean, they're talented enough offensively with Messi and Alvarez to do it. I believe they were the runner-up 4 years ago, are they not? Did they,
I think they were.
They were the team that lost to France. This is
Yeah.
a rematch.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a great match. I think, obviously France had Karim Benzema 4 years ago and don't have him this time around, and so.
Right.
But man, Mbappe and Griezmann and France, they're good, and
They
so
are good.
it's gonna be a tough test. Mbappe is going to play another 2-3 World Cups in his career. Messi, this is definitely probably going to be his last one. I want Argentina to win because he's accomplished everything you can in a sport.
Yes, he has.
And the only thing that he's missing is the biggest trophy that the sport has to offer, and I hope he wins it. I really do.
I kind of do too. He's a sentimental favorite.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Silas, who won 3 NBA championships as a player and went on to serve as a head coach for 12 seasons, has died at the age of 79, Mike. The Houston Rockets are currently coached by Silas's son, Steven. Paul Silas's career spanned 16 years in the NBA with the Hawks, the Suns, the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Supersonics. He's probably best remembered for his 4 years and 2 titles with the Celtics from 1972 to 1976. Standing 6'7", Silas was a 2-time All-Star and also won a title with Seattle. Rest in peace, Paul Silas. Tennessee men's basketball announced on Wednesday a home-and-home series with Illinois, beginning with a meeting at Thompson Bowling Arena. Next season, on December 9th, the Vols make a return trip to Champaign, Illinois during the following season on December 14th, 2024.
Yeah, I want to take an overcoat up there to Champaign.
You better believe that.
Coach Trail?
Yeah, it'll be cold. Yeah. And long johns, too. Huh?
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
I do, too.
I like that, the Big Ten in basketball and
and
the SEC, the SEC has upped their game in basketball, and they're going to start that series next year.
Right.
SEC, ACC, and
Yes.
picking up some Big Ten schools. I think it's a heck of a
I
deal.
do, too.
So
I do, too. I like this.
Hats off to them.
That's good quality basketball right there.
Absolutely.
Well, the abrupt firing of Navy's all-time winningest coach, Ken Numatalolo, in the locker room after the double overtime loss to Army has brought about a petition calling for Navy Athletics Director Chet Gladchuk to be fired and Numatalolo to be reinstated. The petition reportedly has over 1,400 signatures so far.
Okay.
That's unusual.
That's not going
It
to
is,
work,
isn't it?
but
Well, it may not work.
Probably.
But, I mean, he is the all-time winningest coach in Navy history. So, it's got some – it depends on whose signatures are on that petition. If it's some Navy admirals, then that might just work.
Yeah.
I mean,
You never know, but that's a tough road to go down.
Yeah,
right
it is.
there.
And I
You're
mean,
right, it is.
every school has an all-time winningest coach, and I mean, not every school has their all-time winningest coach coaching for them right now.
This
so,
is true.
like, it's one of those things where, like, obviously he had
Sounds
so
to me
had
like-
so much success there, but they've struggled to beat Army the last half decade. And that's ultimately, if you're Navy, that's the game
That's
that
right.
your success
And
is generated upon.
Gladchuk said their ultimate goal is to win the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
And he hasn't. He's won it once in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
last 6 years.
Well, that's a tough job.
You have failed
to
to
do
do
the
That's
expectation.
That's
that
a
is
tougher
hard.
job than Army because they play in, I believe, the American Conference. Navy does. But
yeah.
Army doesn't play in the conference,
Right.
and they're an independent.
Independent.
So they can adjust their schedule a lot more than Navy can.
Yep.
They can
And-
play more cream puffs, can't they?
Yeah, and and if you look at their Army schedule,
Cupcakes.
they have played some games that's been accommodating. But
Yeah.
Navy, when you're in a league,
You got to play.
you got to play
who's in that
You got to
league.
play who's in that league, and I think it does make a little bit.
I think
of a
you're right.
difference.
I think
and
you're
that
right.
may and when they win in the American Conference, you probably seen a little bit of decline, in his
Sure.
his record.
Yeah,
So.
I think you're right. Well,
but
anyway, we'll
if
see
he'd
how
have
it
beat
goes.
Army last week, we wouldn't even be having this
Nope,
discussion.
wouldn't
right
have
here
this
morning.
conversation at all. There would be no petition.
And they had a fumble on the goal line that could have
Yeah.
sealed the game right
Yeah.
there at the end. And
Yeah, they sure could.
That's the way.
Yep.
That's the way it works.
That's where the cookie crumbles.
That's right. That's the way the cupcake crumbles, isn't it?
Well, how do you, thinking and being a coach in a military, you have to recruit, so many different kinds of guys, and academically and all that they have a better, more strenuous job. First of all, is finding kids that want to go to the
Right.
Army.
Yeah,
and Air
you
Force
got to
or
recruit the ones
whatever.
that sign up for a hitch in the Navy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you can run out here and just start picking guys up.
And it's gonna,
Absolutely.
and it's going to get harder because I think that a bill just is waiting pending approval by the president that you can't defer your service time after your professional career anymore. Like you have to go serve as soon as you graduate.
Yeah.
But you do have to recruit a certain kind of athlete. But the
Yeah.
athlete that you get, you can count on him. You can count on the guy that you get there at Army or Navy to give you 100%
that's
out there in that
right.
field. There's no give up on those guys right there.
No.
And they're well respected by other teams because some teams drop those schools, and don't want to play.
Tennessee did.
Oh, really?
Mike's never going to drop this.
Oh, really? Go ahead, Donnie.
You're right. Well, that's all I got for this week's sports headlines. Let's bring the spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
Okay. Hey, I didn't get to the Lady Vols there a while ago, so I'm going to bring Coach Trail back in and Troy and Donnie Moore. The Lady Vols defeated Wright State 96-57 last week. They defeated Wright State 96-57, and then they beat Central Florida 99-64. A couple of games they were expected to win. I guess it was good because Tamar Key has now, she's injured and could not play, so I guess they kind of regrouped with those two games. But Coach Trail today, they traveled to Stanford to play the Cardinal at 3 o'clock. That game is on ABC. And that's tomorrow. I don't know if I said today, but it's tomorrow at 3 o'clock on ABC. Stanford, great program, great girls program out there. So.
Has been for the last 20 years.
And you're on national TV, ABC. I tell you, I don't think a lot of people are thinking Tennessee can stay with them, but Troy Stanford has been off 2 weeks. I think they've been in exams out there, but I looked at their schedule. They haven't played for 2 weeks. Is that going to make any difference here?
No.
Shouldn't.
Well, that was pretty blunt.
Well,
obviously you got more to say than that, don't you? It's just no. I mean,
you asked me a question. Is it going to matter? The answer is no.
Can you expound on that a little bit, or just?
All right,
no?
I will expound. I try to be as nice as possible on this show, and sometimes you don't allow me to do that. What about the first 2 months of the season makes you think that the Lady Vols are going to go and play a good basketball game against Stanford?
Well, they've been off 2 weeks. It's tough to be off 2 weeks and come back and play.
Look, I was in attendance when they played ranked Indiana. They played ranked Virginia Tech. They haven't looked good in either of those games. They played UCLA. Did they lose that one too?
They did.
Okay, so we now have played 3 ranked teams. We're 0-3. You lost your big center.
3 strikes and you're out.
Your number one player who you brought in from Mississippi State, is she still suspended, or out indefinitely with the quotation marks?
She's out.
She is. Okay. Well, so now you're down your 2 best players. So you essentially said, hey, Jordan Horston, you got to go score 100. You got to be Wilt Chamberlain tonight to beat Stanford. I don't think that's going to happen. So again, my answer, no.
Okay, good. Okay. But, Coach Trail, there's some hope because
where's the hope?
2 days after Christmas, they come back and they play the Walford Terriers.
The who?
The Walford Terriers at home. So
where's Walford?
It's in North Carolina.
I don't
right?
know.
South Carolina.
I thought it was South Carolina.
It's in a Carolina. Okay,
well,
it's in one Carolina.
But they should come back on that game. But they start SEC play at Florida on December the 29th. So it's upon them here.
What do you think is wrong over there?
Well, I think they've been eat up with injuries for one thing. You know, they've had people out. Seems like they couldn't get everybody together. Now they've lost their center to Marquis for the season, and that's going to be a big blow. They're going to have a lot of young players come on now to take up
South
Carolina. So, you know, we'll see. But scoring-wise, it's just been the Jackson girl and Horston, you know, pretty much. But somebody's going to have to step up. Sometimes people given the opportunity and they respond.
You never know.
No?
You never know. When you're in a group like that, sometimes you put somebody out there that hadn't been doing much, and all of a sudden they realize they can. You know, I can play.
Right.
And
we made a bad decision. We should have been playing this person all along.
That's exactly right.
I mean, we've seen that.
I mean, I've seen it happen.
Look at Clemson's
before.
football team. You know, they thought they were set on their quarterback, and then the freshman comes in there, wins a couple games for him, put him in there, and it's like, well, we probably should have been playing him all year long.
Him. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it happens.
You can kind of sit there and go with the guy that we already got, and not look at the guy that behind him.
Right.
And you assume that I've got the right guy, but till you put the guy out there in the game and see what he does, the same as in that basketball. You put somebody out there that really hadn't played that much, you know, they may have been better than the one he had.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Mike Leach. You know, passed away last Saturday.
Tragedy.
You know, last Sunday or Monday. I guess it was Monday when he passed away. He had I guess a massive heart attack on Sunday. Was taken to the hospital. Was at a Christmas function. I guess last Saturday everything was fine.
Yeah.
But you know what a shocking loss. 62 years old and coming off an 8-4 season and beat Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl and getting ready for the bowl game there. And boy, I tell you what, that was just a devastating loss, I think, for college football because he had made such a great impact on the game, Coach Trev.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, he's a different kind of guy, but a true winner. And you know, I saw him on Saturday. I was watching something, and they had at his practice or something. He didn't look right Saturday. I mean, something was wrong going on at that time because he was trying to talk to a kid, and he was like, something was wrong. I didn't know what it was, but I believe he was having chest pains at the time, and because he just didn't look right.
Outside of
I've admired that guy. I thought I picked a long time that he would make Mississippi State a good coach.
Yep. Well, he's been successful everywhere he's went.
Yeah.
Tennessee Tech or Texas Tech, he was an outstanding coach there, and an outstanding coach there at Washington State when he took that job, and so he's been successful with that offense. He was an innovator of a lot of offensive sets and schemes and so forth that's been adapted by other college coaches and professional coaches, and he's made his mark, you know, in the game. There's no doubt about it, and he's going to be missed. But what I liked about him is college football, you know, and all sports, they need a guy with personality and showmanship.
He had it.
Individuals with charisma. And Mike Leach epitomized that. You know, you went through years where you had the Steve Spurrier. Everybody was wondering what Steve Spurrier was going to say next. And then you had Al McGuire, you know, up at when he coached basketball up at Marquette. And you know, love him or hate him. You had Bob Knight at Indiana, you know, colorful. The game, college athletics, we need people like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's great for the game.
And they're great coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they had their own personality and they kept it. You know what I mean? And that's just the way they were. And they didn't have to adapt to anybody, or they couldn't do this or they couldn't do that. I've seen old Bobby Knight grab them chairs and throw them across the floor.
Right.
You know.
Right. The night Bobby Knight threw that chair across the floor in the Purdue game or whatever, I think it was the Purdue game. It was a rivalry game, and he just threw it across the floor. And I'm sitting there, and I called my mom, and I said, I think he's in big trouble for throwing that chair. And said, well, I'll tell you right. That's what she said. She says, I'll tell you right now, the game was called so poorly that he should have taken the chair and hit the official over the head with it. That's what my mother said, and all those other. Oh, it was all right for him to do that. There wasn't no problem. He didn't hurt nobody. It's just Bob Knight. It's just who he is,
Yeah,
you know.
that's right.
But
That's exactly
people
right.
tuned in to see what he was going to do, what he was going to say. The same with Spurrier and the same with Mike Leach.
Yeah.
He was.
I always loved Mike Leach because all he had in his hand was a little piece of paper just about the size of his hand.
And was always under control.
Yeah. And
I mean, somebody intercept a pass and he just sort of.
Yeah, it was like but he'd get ready to call a play, and he was like this.
Yeah.
And some of these guys got all these papers and all this stuff.
Holding up signs over there.
Yeah, holding up signs. And he's got the little piece of paper in his hand where he can scribble out.
Same reason that people listen to the sports page is to see what Ray Trail's going to say next.
Right.
Oh, no.
Or Troy.
No, Troy is the one you have to watch.
Yeah, got to watch him.
He's taking over my place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we've got the rest of the medicine crew coming in here to give him some shots this morning, settle him down a little bit. You know, he was. I don't know. We're going to get him a drink here at lunch, and that'll help him, I guess. Hey, the thing that surprised me that I heard about Mike Leach last week, I don't know if you guys know this or not, he never played football. He never played high school football, and he never played college football. He had a law degree.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
That
he didn't play high school ball.
That's
I
amazing.
tell you right now, there's not very many people in the coaching profession that has gone that way.
Ray tells me all the time I don't know what I'm talking about because I didn't play.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Well, we'll get you.
You're another Leach.
Yeah,
I could be the next Mike Leach.
You got time.
I'm as funny.
You got.
Just hope you don't die as young.
That's true. I can talk about pirates. And
Mike Leach, I loved him at Texas Tech. I loved him at Washington State.
And we came within a plane trip of having him over here.
Yeah, we
you know what?
did.
Curry, the athletic director, was on his way out there to sign him, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
And Mike Leach has had some just absolutely iconic moments on as somebody who's a sports writer and attends press conferences and all that stuff. I would have loved to be a part of a Mike Leach press conference. I think back to the one where I think he was talking about his favorite animals and all that stuff, and he went on for about 2.5 minutes on why certain animals are better than other animals, and he was just he was this sense of humor that college football needed, and to lose him, I think it's really, really sad, and it's a tragedy, and he had such a big personality that I don't think that there is somebody who can replace that. Like, he just leaves this immense void in the sport.
You don't replace guys like that. Steve Spurrier and people, they have their own personality.
Yeah.
And that's just the
and
way
Lou
they
Holtz,
are.
Lou Holtz, he was
same
Arkansas
way.
down at your school, and up at Notre Dame in Minnesota. He always was always had a one-liner out there for somebody at some time, and the game, the games, they need more of that. But I'll tell you, it's tough to lose anybody, a family member at any time of the year, but at Christmas time it's got to be just unbearable for that family, and to have somebody that a week ago was fine and was going to different events, and then it's all over.
I had never heard of him having heart problems or anything else ever, and all of a sudden, zip, pop,
right?
And it just seemed like surely they you have to do a lot of physical exam as a coach.
Well,
as a players, they put them all through that.
Years ago, I went for a test. The doctors were looking for something, and they found an aortic aneurysm. In me. And they're monitoring that right now. But the sports writer that was over in the soccer games, he had an aortic aneurysm. Of course, if they don't find it, you don't even know you have it.
Yeah.
And he was 48 years old and died of it. So you just never know, because a lot of heart attacks and so forth, there are no warnings.
Yeah. I agree
come
with
on,
that.
and that's it.
But
so.
that was a sad thing. I tell you what, It happens so fast.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that like this isn't
Every
life
day-
isn't guaranteed.
Every
toward
day,
you.
every
So
day
fragile.
is a gift.
Yeah.
Every day is a gift.
That's exactly right. And Mississippi State now, and it couldn't have come to a worse time.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and those administrators and people down there, with all that they have to deal with his death, as they say, the show must go on.
That's
The
right.
show must go on. You
Yeah.
can't stop. And Mike Leach wouldn't have wanted the show to stop.
they're still-
So, you know, they got the early signing date coming up. But they got to be. They don't want kids to transfer.
No.
They don't want to lose any people
Well, they
because they
moved
got
the guy
the
up.
assistant coach, so that'll give them some stability.
Still got to play a
there.
bowl game.
And you still got, and they elected to go ahead and play their bowl game, which I think was a good decision. To
Oh,
do
yeah, I
that.
think so.
That'll be a period
that's
that
what-
they
I think-
will
I
they
think
can
that's-
recover, by doing that and so
I think
forth.
that's
So
what the coach would want him to
yeah,
do.
I think
so,
that
too.
was probably a
You know?
good thing. But the Heisman Trophy, Caleb Williams last week, Southern California took the award.
Yeah.
Coach Trail, I guess I've got to ask the question: is the trophy losing some prestige and credibility? Do you think, or not?
Oh, yeah, I think it is. I definitely think it doesn't mean as much as it used to. It just now to me it's a popularity contest.
I look at all the other awards, and Troy, you can jump in on this. I looked at all the other awards, even the awards that involved Tennessee players.
Right.
The Biletnikoff Award that was won
Right.
by Hyatt, the receiver, and other awards that were passed out around the country. I didn't have a real big argument with any of those other people that got those awards,
No.
but it seemed like the Heisman was tarnished a little bit.
I think the Heisman was put in such a rough spot this year, and I do want to pass some level of I don't know what the word is, but the writers had a difficult job this year in terms of voting for it, because you go into the year and you feel like Bryce Young deserves it. Well, Bryce Young, Alabama loses a bunch of games and Bryce Young gets hurt, so you take Bryce Young off the table. You feel like, okay, well, then next would be C.J. Stroud. You go into the year with all of these candidates and C.J. Stroud on that list. Well, C.J. Stroud doesn't play well the second half of the year. You can't give it to him. Throughout the year, Hendon Hooker emerges, and you say, that's the guy. Well, what does he do? He loses to South Carolina, and he blows out his knee, so he doesn't get to play his last game. So he's out. And Blake Corum, he had on and off games. Other guy, Max Duggan, really didn't play his best consistently. And so the guy who just so happened to have the most hype going into the voting period just so happened to be Caleb Williams after that win over UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
I think the Heisman Trophy panel this year had an excellent opportunity to place the award with a player that wasn't maybe a running back or a quarterback, Coach Trail.
Yeah,
Maybe
could have.
this is the year that maybe you could give it to a linebacker or an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, or somebody in the secondary, based on kind of what Troy's talking about right here. I mean, it might have been the perfect year to do that, and at least had one candidate or two. Because it just looked like the ones they had, you could just kind of throw them in a bag. And
I just think that the only problem with that is that you look at it and there's not it's not like years past where you had a Jadeveon Clowney or other guys. There's not like some dominant defensive player that jumps out to you as a guy who
a Dick Buck,
who
type
deserved
guy.
it. And so I think it was just a really hard year. Injuries and all that stuff.
I voted for the quarterback
from
in Georgia.
Yeah, based on what he did with his team, and
Well, I mean,
based on what the requirements of the Heisman were. We
Right.
talked about that last week.
I think if I had a vote, just because I don't think that missing one game should have penalized him, I think I would have voted Hendon Hooker. But let's say that I have to take Hendon Hooker out of the conversation. I think I would have voted for.
But he's in New York.
He would have been in New York for sure.
That's the one they really messed up.
I think I think now, right today, if I had to say who I voted for Heisman, I would have voted for Max Duggan.
Yeah. I think
Who is he?
That's
TCU's
the
quarterback.
TCU's quarterback.
He's a good
I think
quarterback.
that my vote, based on the way the Heisman Trophy reads, I mean the candidates and what they're supposed to achieve, would have either been the quarterback at Georgia,
Yeah.
or Dugan. Those two guys, and I would have to say, well, which one of these? Is
I
gonna
mean,
be
to
the
me, if you take a guy who's come the furthest, the guy at Georgia, my gosh, he's a walk-on.
guy. Yeah.
You know, he got a chance to win 2 national championships. You know, that's tough. You can talk about how good
Right.
everybody else
And
is.
he
but,
he meets the criteria
Oh, yeah.
with no doubt.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I mean, really, just if you got to
Yeah.
go by somebody that's done something,
Yeah.
he just won a national championship twice.
Right. Right. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents the Shelter Insurance Bold Prediction segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Your newspaper, that's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
And that
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the panel Shelter Insurance Bowl predictions this week. Coach Trail, I'll tell you, with what we've done last week, both you and I and so forth, I think we have every right to opt out or enter the transfer portal, but based on our loyalty and commitment to Troy in this segment, I think we ought to go ahead and go for another week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we ought to knock it in the head one more week. Obviously, we're not making any money on this.
We'll hang around.
Yeah, we just might as well hang around because it.
Yeah. What do you got, Troy?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out because I forgot to write things down. Okay, so here we are. Oh, look. Well, I have the games, but I don't have the results from last week. So I'm doing it quick in my head.
Last week. Okay.
Mike, you picked Navy, they lost.
I
UAB
picked Navy too.
UAB didn't cover. UTSA didn't cover. Go Mighty Trojans of Troy, they did. So Mike went 0-3, but then you did pick
horribly
all 2 of the Division III games. You did a great job on that. So you went 2-3. Ray, you picked Navy, wrong. You picked Miami of Ohio. You got that one right. Hey, high five on that. That was a good call. You picked Troy, 2-1, and then you You got one of the Division III games right, so you went 3-2. Donnie, Navy, wrong. It's
gonna hurt.
UAB, wrong. UTSA, wrong.
Yeah.
You picked North Central and Mount Union, so you went 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Hey, you didn't fall any. You're still 2 games back of Mike on the 5. This is it. The championship gets
I
decided this
thought
week.
he said it was it last
I
week.
did not.
Coach
I never
Trail.
said that. If you can go back, I think he was all flustered by the word I said last week, and I don't think he heard me correctly. This is the last week.
Well, if I get beat this
Bowl
week,
games are.
I'm going to protest this whole deal, and we're going to have a complete recount for the season. How's that, Coach Trail? Huh? We're going to get political on this deal, and we're going to have a complete recount of all 14 weeks.
Bowl games
I hope he
are a
kept the
complete
statistics.
coin flip.
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
Demand.
so Ray, I want to let you know this.
Okay.
We came into this week. We had 2 thoughts. We could either pick 6 games and they'd be all the New Year's 6 bowls, or we could have fun and pick random bowls. I put it in a number generator and just had the computer pick which games we were picking. Which one do you think we chose to do?
The games?
Yeah, which games do you think we did? Do you think we decided to do all 6 New Year's games or just randomly pick games in the bowl season?
Random.
That's exactly what we did, darn it.
That's what
And
we
you know
did.
why I did that, don't you?
Because I want
Because them bowl games, they didn't mean anything. They didn't mean anything.
They don't mean
that's a
anything.
bunch
They don't
of
mean
them.
nothing.
No, that's
So-
right.
That's right. So he picked all these others.
We got 5 games, and these are some of the most hard-hitting bowl games on the schedule, picked by the computer on which ones we're picking. The first one, Eastern Michigan versus San Jose State in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in Boise, Idaho, Ray. San Jose State is a 3.5-point favorite, and Mike Edwards, as always, you are the leader of the pack, so you go first.
San
Donnie,
Jose, I've got San Jose State in that game.
who do you got, Ray?
I picked the other one.
Eastern Michigan. Donnie Moore.
I'm going to pick San Jose State too.
Marcus is absent today, as we have noted.
We don't know where Marcus
And
is.
I am going to pick Eastern Michigan. Why? Because I'm a Cowboys fan, and Tony Romo went to Eastern Michigan, I believe.
Well,
I
he's
think that's-
not playing.
I don't care. You know what another reason is, Mike? I love
Northern football.
I love the MAC. I love MACtion. Now,
you are a MACtion
Here's the
fan.
thing. This game was randomly selected. It is currently in progress, so I would like everybody to close their
Oh,
eyes
great.
and not look at the television. Don't look at the television. Stay away. Stay away. Cincinnati versus Louisville. And Louisville is a 1.5-point favorite in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl in Boston.
Okay. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Wow. You hate Cincinnati.
I love them today, though.
Ray Trail.
What?
Yeah, don't look at the television.
Well, did the Louisville coach leave?
Yes.
They both left.
They're both gone.
They're both gone. Even Steven there.
Oh. I'm going to go with Louisville.
Donnie Moore?
I'm taking the Cardinals.
I'm also picking the Cardinals. And I know that's going to stun Mike. I know last year I gave him a whole heck of a bunch about Cincinnati and how they deserve to be in the playoff. They're just not the same team this year, and they don't have Luke Fickell anymore. And it's sad. Game number 3, Ray, it's getting more interesting as they pass. Georgia Southern versus Buffalo in the Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Georgia Southern is a 3.5-point favorite.
Georgia Southern.
Look at Ray. He's jumping all over it. He doesn't even care. Mike.
Georgia Southern.
Donnie.
Yeah, it's going to be midnight in Montgomery. I'm going to take Georgia Southern too.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and go with the Bulls. I'm going with all
the Bulls.
I'm going with mostly Northern football teams. Well, technically, I think Louisville counts as a Northern football team. I like the Northern football teams in bowl games because this is their opportunity to show that they are worth something in games that don't matter. I like Northern football teams in these games. Iowa. This is the best one, Ray. I'm changing the name of this bowl. This is the sleep on your ottoman bowl, your sleep on your couch bowl, the fall asleep on the carpet bowl, however you watch a football game, you're going to go to bed. Iowa versus Kentucky in the Music City Bowl in Nashville. Iowa is a 2.5-point favorite. I'm not so certain that 3 points will be scored in the game. Right, I've been saying this all week. They should get rid of the scoreboard clock. They should just have these two teams play, and the first team to 10 wins. It might take 2 weeks, but the first team to 10 wins.
Iowa.
Mike Edwards.
That place is going to be Big Blue Nation down there. It's a game that means a lot to Kentucky people. This is a big bowl for them.
It was, yes.
So I'm going to take Kentucky over Iowa. I don't think Iowa's going to come down here and watch them play in the
Kentucky's
are they
quarterback
playing
is
chess?
on pro.
He's gone. He's
Might
gone,
as well.
Running backs
But
gone.
I think Kentucky's going to find
Their running backs are
Uh,
gone too.
They're going to find some offense.
Donnie Moore.
I think Kentucky's going to rally in this one. They're going to win.
Look, Kentucky wasn't worth a darn when they had their quote-unquote first-round quarterback who stinks. They weren't worth a darn when they got Chris Rodriguez back.
Is he playing?
He's not.
Levis not going to play in this
No.
one?
And here's the thing. Iowa can't score points. They've never been able to score points. They're pathetic when they have the ball. But you know what? They play defense. And defense travels, Ray. And so I think Iowa gets it done today it'll be about 7-3. It'll be real entertaining. If you are looking for a good nap, that is the game you want to watch.
Yeah.
That game is like football NyQuil.
It's hard to nap watching game bowl.
And then we're going to finish off with an actual good bowl. Number 6 Tennessee versus number 7 Clemson. Clemson is a 7-point favorite in the Orange Bowl. Mike Edwards.
Yeah. Well, I was going to take Tennessee, to start with, but Troy's convinced me that this game doesn't mean anything, and those
Doesn't mean
players
anything for Clemson
doesn't
either.
mean anything at all. So I don't know why the Tennessee people's even buying tickets to go down there. Clemson's got the really solid defense. Their
top defensive player just opted out.
Well, they're still going to be really good. Their whole defensive front line made all ACC. The quarterback's playing pretty well. They found some offense at the end of the year. We got an untested quarterback back there. Our receivers are going to be, they're going to be all over the place trying to catch football.
Clemson.
I'm going with Clemson.
Yeah, I am
I'm going to
too.
take Clemson.
Donnie Moore.
Are they still a 7-point favorite?
They are still. Well, I'm going with 7. I haven't
7
rechecked
close.
lines.
I think I'm going with Tennessee in the points.
I'm going with Tennessee to win the football game, darn it. It might not matter, but they're going to finish the season on a high note. And that's what I got for you. Mike, get us out of here.
All right. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. On behalf of Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, our sponsors, along with all of the Goatee Sports Page family, we would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And until January the 7th, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports. Take care, everybody.